Not tonight. Hey, hello, campers. Welcome back to another Thursday night live around the campfire. Tonight is something that I'm really stoked to be talking about. A conversation about love. And with the people I have on screen with me tonight, I know I'm in a safe place. I know that I'm loved. I know that this is a conversation that is going to be extremely powerful because each person you see on the screen right now comes from love. They choose love. So let me introduce them to you. Steve Angel from down there in Melbourne. How are you, mate?
I'm good, Scott. How are you?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. So what do you do business-wise?
Business-wise, I work in the emotional health arena, so well-being, really. I'm a spiritual counselor. So I work with people in dealing with emotional challenges they're facing in their life. I mainly work with men specifically and in relationships. I'm also a values-based coach. So I work with people to help them understand the values that underpin all their behaviors in life, and just to make sure that they've got values that are really strong, supportive, and actually help them get to where they want to get to in life.
Brilliant. Thank you, and welcome to Thursday Night Live.
Thank you.
Karen Chaston.
Hello, everybody.
How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. Can you share with us, what is your business?
Well, I am the co-founder of the Chaston Centre. The other co-founder is my son, Dan, who most of you don't know is on the other side. He passed away 10 years ago now, and he is the one who has guided me into everything I do. He writes my books. I have to type them. He just gives them to me, and that's what I do. So I am a life coach who helps people to move beyond any kind of loss, and there are over 40 different kinds of loss. And as a former CFO of a publicly listed company, I am also taking this into the workplace under my People and Profits banner, because when you actually understand that your employees are your greatest asset, and the only way to do that is to really get to know, like, and trust them. And that's what I help you do, because that's what makes them more profitable and obviously more productive. So that's me in a nutshell. I help people individually and also in the corporate space.
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that. So, Lisa Jayne, how are you, mate?
I'm sensational, thanks. I love Karen's smile. It's so bubbly. I feel like you could just go and play somewhere with Karen, couldn't you? Like, just
anytime you want.
Yeah, find a slippery dip or a swing, or
Thank you. I wasn't like that when I was in my corporate life.
We'll open that up a little bit because it's something I really want to talk about. Lisa, so what do you do?
So I'm bridging the gap between emotion and culture. I work with mothers so that they can actually create a new culture around their daughters aged 8 to 16, so that they can feel closer, but also so that both of them can actually step into their highest, most authentic self. I teach 5 simple keys that they can apply, and essentially it just takes them out of the dynamic of that repetitive cycle and puts them into the emerging process, which is incredibly empowering. It's very simple. It's a new consciousness of relationship, and really it could be applied by anyone, but I'm focusing on mums and daughters because I've seen how the women I work with, there are so many patterns that they're in that if we taught emotion education like to young people, they would be able to meet their unmet emotional needs, and they wouldn't make the choices they do, and they wouldn't stay in the places that they do trying to get these needs met by somebody else who could never meet them for them anyway. So I do that. I have online classes. I've almost finished my book, which is almost ready to be published, and I do one-on-one mentoring.
Brilliant. Awesome. Thank you. And tonight I want to share that with everybody, what everybody does for a reason, because we're going to talk about love. And we're talking about something that is not just one part of our lives. we put it through all parts of our lives. It's in our business, it's in our family, it's in everything we do. So let's start with, what is love? You know, and people watching, if you hear something tonight that resonates with you and somebody's talking about something, comment yes in the comments, and we'll pick that up at that time, because we'll address this. May not be tonight, but we will definitely come back to it. So thank you. Karen, what is love to you?
Well, it took me a long time to find it. But love is something that we all come into this world with. And I think in the process of growing up, we tend to lose it, and then we spend a lot of our time looking for it again. But love is you. Love is all of us. Love to me is something that you require. Love for yourself comes first. And it's not a vanity thing. It's not an ego thing. It's just do you know what? When I put myself first and look after me, I come from overflow, and I just love what I do. And you make different choices when you're in that sort of mindset, because it's, you know, your food choices, you learn how to say no, you learn how to say yes when you're really, really scared. But that's what love is to me. Something where you just, life goes really well. But before I let anyone else talk, in my love and loss, I believe we're on this infinity sort of loop where we've got love and we've got loss. And most of us know how to do love, and it might not be a healthy love, but we know how to do love. Then we come into loss, and we get stuck in loss, and we don't know how to find our way back to love. And that's what could be what's taking us so long to get back there. So that's what I help people to do, is not only to get back to love, but that journey, that infinity journey that we're on, it's about you coming to you, and that's how you get back to love. But from no matter what loss event happens in your life, and there are over 40 different types that can affect us all. So it's just really interesting. And I was really grateful when you reached out to me, you know, because I tell everyone that, you know, you got to live and love your life, because that's what it's about. I even have a Live Love by Design brand. So it's beautiful.
Yeah, and thank you. And I specifically reached out to you for a reason, because, and one of the reasons is, if it's okay, is the fact that, you know, you did lose your son.
Yeah.
And it did confuse people that you still lived life and you still loved. And it's something that I want to bring up a bit later, if that's okay, and we can talk about that.
Yeah, you can bring it up. I talk about Dan all the time. I actually say I spend more time with him than I do his two brothers and also his half sister. So yeah.
No, brilliant. And that's because we'll get back to that, because we're coming back to love, aren't we?
Yeah. That's the infinity loop we're all on.
I love it. Thank you. And thank you for that explanation.
Yeah.
Steve, what's love to you?
Yeah, okay. So I thought about this a lot, because I knew I was coming on tonight, and I wanted to really, you know, it's one of those big, huge concepts, you know, and I think one of the sad things is that I think love is one of those overused words, which in some cases has lost the potency of what it really is. To me, with my spiritual system, I have this belief that we're spirits. Like, we have a spirit in us, right? And this spirit has come from a different universe, a greater universe, right? And that energy is what we are. We are part of that greater universe. And love, to me, is that purest form of that energy, which is what we are. It's that purest form. And we come into this world with that purest form. And that's the love that we know. You know, that's the love that we just feel. So to me, love is energy, and it's the purest form of energy that we have. And I agree with Karen. I think so much of our life from that moment that we're born is a struggle between losing love, being rejected by love, trying to find it, and in that we're trying to find who we are again. You know, we're always trying to get back to who we are, just like what Karen said. We're always trying to get back to love, because that is who we are in its purest form. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
That's what I believe. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you. Lisa Jayne, what is love to you?
Well, I thought I might share a story. So when I was 37, I had a husband and I had 3 children. And at that time, I remember going to a workshop. Like, I'd obviously done a fair bit of work on myself. And I remember sort of saying a prayer as I went to this weekend workshop, that I was ready to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I'm ready just to change. I know that there's some transformation coming. I don't know what it is, but I'm ready for it. And I completely surrendered. And I went to this workshop and I did a breathwork session. And what was really interesting is that I recognized a feeling in my body. And it was so familiar. It was so familiar. And I remember I put my hands on my heart and I went, what is this feeling? What is this feeling? And then I just went, oh, this is love. And what I realized was, even though I had a family, even though I'd loved my mum and my dad and my sister and my friends, I had never felt this until I was 37. It was so pure. It was so completely encompassing, and every part of my being was vibrating in it. And it was so beautiful. And like, for about a year after that, I was completely in a totally different zone. I think a lot of people thought I was a little bit crazy, because I think I did go a bit crazy, but actually sort of came back to earth at some stage. But what I recognized from that was that, and I agree with Karen and Steve, is that it is who we are. It's the expression, and I feel that coming out of my heart. It's the expression of myself in this body, is that pure love. And as I've grown, what was shown to me was, if I wasn't a certain way, love from the outside would be withdrawn. And so I learned that unless I could be something else and step into another place, or, you know, get better grades or look differently, that love would be withdrawn and I wouldn't be able to access it, because our culture teaches that the love that we want comes from outside. So I consistently set up these patterns to get what I thought that I needed from the outside. And it wasn't until I was 37 that I realized that the love that I was getting from the outside had a very different substance to it than the pure love that I was. The love that I got from the outside was dependent upon people, and it could come and go. And so sometimes when it went, I felt absolutely dreadful. The love that I am, it never goes. So that means ultimately how it's changed my relationships is that people can just turn up how they are. I don't need them to be anything other than what they are, because what do I need from them? They can, and I can accept them how they are. I don't have to withdraw my love so that they become something more, or so that they give up that, or so that they do that. It's like they can be who they are. And then I make a choice out of love for myself. Do I still want to keep hanging out with them? You know, like, I don't have to change them to feel better about myself, because I already have love. Everything else is the icing on the cake.
I agree. I need 2 secs. I'm really sorry. I'm going to love my wife because she's just came in and she doesn't do this normally. Hey, how are you? What's wrong?
The electricity went downstairs, so half of the downstairs there's no power. So,
okay, so it's just tripped in the meter.
So
do you want me to come down and have a quick look?
I don't know where it is. So.
Okay, so we're live. I'm going to go and love my wife. The power's out. Okay, well, I'm just going to leave it with you guys for a minute, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, right? This is what it's about, right? This
Have
is
you
Do
an
what you do, Scott. We can
So-
keep going.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. I'll be 2 secs. All right, cheers. Thank you.
Gotta love live.
Yeah, exactly. I love that, Lisa Jayne, because it's like, that's the conditional, unconditional type love that you explained, which is so beautiful when we realize that so much of what we learnt when we were growing up was conditional.
It was very, and I sort of think in a way that love has been corrupted. Like I look at it as a corrupted version of love, which has happened. I believe it's probably come about because we've been separated from our hearts, and we've become a culture where we're in our heads and we have to do things and we're always thinking. And so we've detached from our heart, which is our power and our courage. And in that detachment, we've created a projection of love, which is not the real thing. And so the projection, because it's not the real thing, always ends up disappointing us in some way or the other and keeping us in a repetitive cycle. It's very interesting. And, you know, and for me, it all comes back to the emotional world and like understanding that if I can meet my own unmet emotional needs, the more I come into that place where I'm feeling the love that I am.
Yeah. And do you find that the more you meet your own, everyone else seems to be meeting their own as well around you? They
And I don't put myself in a position to be hurt anymore. I'm more able to speak up. And what you said before was really true. When I meet my own emotional needs before I act, I'm launching my next thought, word, or action from a platform of empowerment. So the results I get are so much better. Whereas before I would be launching my thoughts and my actions from like feeling insecure or unlovable or not good enough or powerlessness, and I'm trying to fix things from that place. So it's a no-brainer that the results I get are not going to be anything like what I really want.
Yeah.
I feel a little bit, I've missed part of the conversation.
It was a really good one.
We're still talking about love though.
Yeah, brilliant. You know, and it's, and like the thing that I heard between three of you is you've got your own form of love. But the thing I heard,
maybe it's we've each come to who we really are from a different way. And I think I would love to hear, you know, like Karen and Steve, and even you, Scott, like what was it that you did, like the practical things or the experiences or those things that actually, because they say it's a long way from the head to the heart. And I actually think that this is what we're talking about here. The pure love that we are is the heart. The love that comes and goes is maybe the head. And somehow just saying that is not enough. Like, how did you guys make that shift into that understanding of the purity of love that you are?
I'm happy to jump in there and answer that question. Yeah, if that's all right.
Yeah.
So for me, I think if I was to be completely honest, to get to where I am now, I really had to get to a really deep, dark place. Because I think until then, I was happy to distract myself from what I was actually feeling through work, through other things that would just make it easy, you know, drugs, alcohol. It was easy, you know, just don't feel that, don't think about that. And it wasn't until I probably hit my lowest, probably about 10 years ago. And it was then that I just went, this just can't be it. This can't be it. I can't do this anymore. I don't feel like myself anymore. I don't even know who I am anymore. You know, I've become this product of what my family expected of me, of what my friends expect of me, what I expect that I think the society wants of me, you know, constantly just mirroring myself against everyone else's expectations and what I thought was right and what would make me, you know, popular and lovable. Just, you know, like me, you know, like me for, you know, who I don't even know who I am, but just like me, you know, that kind of thing. So I had to hit a really deep, dark low, and it was really sad. Like, I mean, I can remember the feelings of it, but I don't believe you can get to remembering that purity of love until you can be on the other side of it, you know, when you can feel the darkness, because I think there's very few people in this world that I think are evolved enough to just wake up one day and go, hey, you know what? I'm turning it all off and I'm just going to be loved. If you can do that, my hat's off to you, because like, no, I couldn't do that. It had to get dark for me. So that's what happened to me personally. And I think from then I made a commitment that I just did not want to go back to where I was. I did not want to get back to where I was. And it was meaning then to have to cut so much from my life that no longer served me, and learning again, you kind of like have to tear everything apart and rebuild that foundation to your house again. And you got to start again. So that's my story.
No, I agree. But I think the rebuilding is all about your beliefs. Because you got to break down all of those lies, and they didn't realize they were lies that they were telling us. Don't do this. You got to do this. You got to be this person. All those sort of things, and it was about. And I totally agree. I don't think anyone can do it without living life. You got to live life, and you've got to go into the avoidance. The avoidance realm, and let's face it, the world is so good at avoidance. Food, alcohol, drugs, social media, Netflix. Like, we've created a whole world just so we can avoid tapping into us. And we're all really good at it, which is what one good thing about the pandemic has been. It's sort of forced us all to go, it's time to do that deep dive, everyone. We're stopping you. And let's what happens when you stop. But I totally agree. It was definitely that. But, like straight after Dan passed in 2011, I went straight back to my corporate job, working more, eating more, drinking more. And then 15 months later, I'm faced with go with the new company that was merging with my one, not a CFO, doing everything you're doing now plus more for 2/3 of my salary. And that was the best thing that my former boss ever did for me, because it allowed me to go, oh, wait a minute, Dan passed, nothing happened. I'm now about to possibly go into a job which is going to eat me from the inside out, just thinking, oh, my God, they're using me, they've got me for nothing sort of thing. And that was what happened for me to go, no, wait a minute, if I don't say yes to redundancy on this one, I'm going to get sick or I'm going to get something else happen to me. I need to listen to that. And that was my start to do that deep dive into me. But I totally agree, Steve. I think things in our lives come to us to teach us that lesson so that things are less on us. And, I was drinking a bottle and a half a night of wine every single night.
That's serious suppression, Karen.
But it was denial. It was total denial. This is what you do. And, it wasn't $10 bottles of wine, because on this salary, you got to drink $50 bottles of wine, like total BS sort of thing. But it was literally I had my last drink on the 30th of December, 2018, thinking 2019 will be my alcohol-free year. I'll never drink again because I don't need it. But I thought I needed it. But once I obviously got back to me and back to understanding what love is, especially love for yourself, it's like, why would I drink it? Like my whole family, like, I just can't believe you never crave it. I go, I know, it's really cool, isn't it? But I don't. I know.
I truly understand that. And, listening to you all at the moment, we've all got stories. We've all got stories where we've been completely broken. That those stories have gifted us the opportunity to explore ourselves. What part of this is really hurting? What part do I really need to work on? Because my feeling on this is that until we've got that healing in ourselves, it's really hard to love others. But it's not even to love others, it's to accept love.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's the part of it that love is a powerful, powerful thing. And it comes with a knowing that everything's going to be okay. Comes with the feeling that the universe has got your back. But to get to that point, you need to know in yourself that you're strong. I wonder what it's going to be like for some of the kids growing up that have the freedom of expression to express their emotions and talk about the things in life and not be held back by my judgments. Like it's for myself, I see love as something just so beautiful and powerful. I am love. Yeah, I will love you with everything I have, each and every person, as often as I can. Right now, this is really important to me. This conversation is so important to me because it's what I dream we live for. It's what the business of Smiles comes from, support and love and wanting to be with each other and connect again, bridge that gap. My wife, I love her. She needed help. I can get frustrated, but she needed me. That was my opportunity to love her.
Yeah.
And that love was an appreciation of her need, and go, okay, can I fulfill that right now? So I'm going to love her.
Love in action.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because when that scenario comes up, I see a lot of people get super frustrated with that. But she needed that love. I needed to give it to her. I had the opportunity. I can, and it's so amazing.
Now, see that allowing, I think, is what that allowing is really. That's a distinction between that pure love that we are and a love that maybe we've been taught to do. Is that allowing and just accepting that in this moment something is going to happen, and I just have to stay in the love and go and do it. So. It's true, like what you're saying, that's a good example of that, because if you're in the other sort of love, it could be frustration, judgment, like, oh my gosh, how is this going to derail what I'm doing? Therefore, you start to, like all these other stuff happens when you're in your head. But if you're just in your heart being that love, it's like, it's cool. I'll come fix up the electricity. No drama.
Just a side note, I didn't actually fix it. I've gone down, assessed the situation, and I've seen that certain lights are working, certain ones aren't. She's hit a switch and it's just triggered one point. They're perfectly okay for the next hour or so. But it's about making sure that people are okay. So, Steve, you had something to say then.
It was something that you said, Lisa, about the other type of love. And it meant something about in frustration and stuff. And I'm probably going to disagree a little bit from what I believe, and that is that I don't think you can hold both opposite emotions at the same time. I don't think you can say that there is love if there is anger or frustration. I think that when anger's in, love's going to be out. I don't believe. I think that we do confuse love with obligation, commitment, sort of like the chores that I have to do, or I have to do this because she is my wife, not because I want to do this. But I would.
Could we use the word paradigm? So in that paradigm, you're more likely to react with anger or feel obligation. But in the other consciousness where your love is pure, there's different. See, I see them as two very distinct paradigms. They're two very distinct frequencies for me. Like I feel them differently in my body. There's a different vibration. And I think that's what you're referring to. You can't be in them both at once. You're either in one and you're walking further away from your true self, or you're in the other one and you're walking further towards your true self. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Just something, because I think it comes back to what we said earlier, which was this overuse of love. The word love. You hear it. It's like, I love Scott, and I love my car, and I love Netflix. Yeah. And it's given the same amount of importance when it shouldn't be. And I think that dilution of the word has meant that we are very flippant with actual love. We forget how really important and pure it should be. And if it is, I can enjoy Netflix. I get joy out of my car, but love, I think it just needs that. We need to hold it in more reverence than when we're holding it.
I totally agree. And even the songs, like listening to the songs that my teenage daughter listens to, the way they sing about love, it's so needy. And it's so oh my God, is this what you guys think about love? It's like, it's just incredible.
Yeah.
So just listening to that sale of love, that's this emotion of need. Is it something you need, or is it something you give?
Something
Karen.
you give and receive. Something you give and receive.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't know how to do the receiving part. They know how to give it, but they can get stuck in actually having it coming their way, which, and you can't give and not have it come back. If you're coming from a pure intention, not from a needy part. But don't you feel like teenage love is needy because they're needy, because they're trying to find themselves? Just talking about the songs that you were talking about.
Well, I think our culture, once again, continually affirms through every means it can that we're not good enough by ourselves and that we have to get something else outside to feel whole. I personally feel that I like to think that what I'm here to do on this planet, not the only person that's here to do it, I'm sure, but to teach young people that they can find that in themselves, that there is a way to actually feel that in yourself, so you don't have to be that needy person. And that's what I teach my daughter. It's like how to look at relationships and situations as a way for her to step back into her power and meet those needs herself, and then go out and what do I need to do about this now? Do I need to set boundaries, or do I need to do that? Or,
Oh, sorry, I'm just going to throw up a couple of comments. John's thrown up some great comments. So in Greek, there are 7 words for different types of love. English typically doesn't have the sophistication to explain love in deeper ways.
No, that's good.
I adore that. I adore that opportunity, because right now we're discussing love, and there's all these different parts of it. There's no one part that's more important or less important than the other. It's all love, but there's different ways to do it. So I'm going to look into that, and thank you for that, John. So I'm just going to pop this up too. Teenage love is selfish because empathy is missing. We teach them selflessness through example. I love that. Because it's something that I'm a firm believer in, that my words are here to support my actions, not the other way around. I'm not going to speak and then do something. I'm going to do what I do and then utilize my words to support the actions that I have. And it's one thing that I feel, Karen and I were having a great little talk just before, the Botox of life. What filler do you put in your life to avoid what needs to be done? And one of the greatest conversations I had last year was on death. And it was just pure love. I had 3 people sitting on the screen talking about loving people in their final days and after they've passed, and just the love and tenderness they had for people. It was just, I highly recommend people go and watch it, because it was so powerful. And I've taken so much of that away and into my life, and I think that is just amazing. So I'm gonna ask a question, because love is powerful, and I feel like we're currently in a society that's full of fear and Botox. How would we come back to love? What could we do to come back to love? I'm going to start with you, Karen, because your smile's the biggest.
Thanks. What I feel is that you can't have love and fear in the same dynamic. So if you're in fear, it's about deep diving into the fear, because the more you deep dive into it, why are you scared? What is it about? What is the likelihood of whatever you're fearing likely to happen? Have you been in a scenario which is similar where it did actually happen, or you just had all this fear and then it just sort of went away, or what was it? So it's about deep diving into it. because the more you deep dive into the fear and, as Lisa said, get out of your head and into your heart, the more that you'll actually see that most of it is just like the big, boogeyman under your bed when you were a kid. We all thought, oh, yeah, there's someone definitely under there, sort of thing. And that's what I feel about it, is you got to deep dive into it. You got to figure out why you're in fear. Is it going to happen? What's the likelihood? And what's stopping you from actually going into love over it? What's a different perspective on what you're fearing that you may be missing? And start talking to people and saying, oh, but have you thought of this? Or have you thought of looking at it from this perspective or this perspective? That's my thoughts on that.
I love it. Thank you. Same question to you, Steve.
Yeah. So, look, fear is one of those things that, they say that fear is the enemy of the mind, because it takes you away from the present, because fear is really about the future. It's never really about what's happened now, right? So you're always worried about, there's a indecisiveness about what's going to happen, and you're stuck in that indecisiveness about the future, and it's just like, that's just going to keep you in fear because you can't control it. So it is the enemy of the mind. And what Karen has said is right. If we have to understand the feelings behind the fear that's causing it, right? If we can start to do a couple of things, and that is to, one, be willing to understand the fear and the feelings behind it, name those feelings, give them a name. Like, what is it that I'm fearing? Am I fearing rejection? Am I fearing,
bankruptcy?
Bankruptcy. Am I feeling, whatever the case may be, what is I'm feeling? And then what's that's causing me to feel? What can I do about it now? Is there anything I can do about it now to overcome that fear? And all you need is a little bit of courage to overcome that fear. Once you understand what the fear is and the feelings behind that fear, then you can move forward. That's how I kind of teach, and that's how I kind of experience it in my life. If we were to look at everyone, and I'm just going to take sort of a bigger view of what's going on in the world right now, I think that what we've got is just this collective fear, because in the first time for many of us, we are living in a society where uncertainty is the norm, and uncertainty breeds fear, because as humans, we don't like uncertainty. We like to know what's going to happen when we wake up in the morning, and that everything's going to sort of follow a certain pattern. We don't have that right now. So fear is probably at its heightened level. Well, actually, no. Uncertainty is at its heightened level, which makes fear very easy to exist in all our lives. And so therefore we find it everywhere we are. We find it in our families. We find it with our friends. We find it through the news that we hear, the decisions that have been made for us. So we are in really extraordinary times. One of the things that I'm trying to do, I guess, about bringing more love is to be less judgmental of others. Mm-hmm. Just stop the judgment. Anyone who presumes that they are right in any position that they have in life is fooling themselves, because that decision is right for you. Yeah. And if someone asks you for an opinion, you can give that. But beyond that, to have this judgment on how others should be or act or feel or live is a judgment and that's not right. And that does not make you a loving person. So I think that the one thing we could try and bring down in society right now is this level of judgment that we have on everybody.
Mm.
Yeah, I love that, because it's a very timely conversation, and judgment's probably going to be another panel, because it's something that we could do with a whole lot less of. Thank you, Steve. Lisa.
Well, I think that I'd like to invite you to think about fear and love. Like, if we think about ourselves as, if I'm feeling fear, I must have separated myself from the power of love that I am. Because when I'm in who I really am, in my authentic self, there is no fear. And because it's love, we're pure love, right? So when I look at my emotions, if I'm not owning my emotions, And if I don't want to feel them, if I push them away, if I try to suppress them or deny them, and even if I get into my head and try to figure them out too much, like I have to really feel them and validate them. Mm-hmm. But if I'm not doing those sorts of things, then my emotions are still over there and I'm here. So I'm separate. I'm still separate. And whenever I'm separate, I can't feel my wholeness, which is me being all here right now, which is when my heart is open and when I'm feeling the pure love that I am. So I think the feelings that we have are absolutely imperative in us feeling pure love. And it doesn't matter what that emotion is. But our approach to it could be very helpfully, oh, I'm going to use this emotion to actually discover more of who I am. I'm going to use it. What is this fear about? Where is that in my body? What is it telling me I need to do for myself? Because the fear is there for a reason. It's actually when I started to look at every single emotion I had as my friend, as an indicator, like almost, you know, how computers talk to each other through protocols. I think that our feelings are like that, right? So we've got to learn to read the protocol because we don't know how to read emotion yet. We've been taught to take the feeling, put it into our head and analyze it. Now, you can't fix a feeling with a thinking. That's just a logical thing, right? Like I can't prove this. I don't know if anybody's ever done a scientific experiment on that, but in my life, I've never been able to fix a feeling with a thinking. So if I imagine my feelings as my friends and I think about, okay, I'm feeling unempowered here. How could I make myself feel more empowered? Like I'm grateful to those feelings. I validate them. Why wouldn't I feel fearful at the moment? Why wouldn't I feel all these things? But that's giving me the opportunity to actually do something that's going to make me feel more empowered in my life. And when I do that, I feel more whole. So I believe that the amount of pain and suffering that we have in our lives indicates the separation that we have in ourselves. You know, I think it might be like an indicator of how close we are to being our true authentic self, how true we are, how often we speak our truth, how often we actually honor ourselves and do what we need to do for us. And the less we do that, the more pain and suffering we feel, the more separate we are from the power of who we are and that love and that truth of who we are.
I agree. I think the biggest thing there is that honesty. Honesty and self-honesty. That is just massive. I think in order for us to be more loving and to receive more love, we need to be honest.
But why don't we? We don't do that because we've been taught that we have to get what we need from the outside. So whenever we're thinking that, we are always going to be judgmental. We're always going to be dishonest. So it's like it's thinking around the other way, isn't it? It's thinking from the inside out rather than the outside in.
I think I think you're right. And there's another thing. I think there's another reason why we won't be honest as well, is because we fear that rejection of somebody else by someone else. So we may not be as honest as we are about our feelings because of our fear that person may remove themselves from us, or they may criticize us, or may they humiliate us, or they may embarrass us, or they may take their love away from us. So we hold back a little bit from the truth because we don't want to say how we truly feel. So what we do to protect them is deny how we feel. And then if we do that every single time, those little micro decisions that we make all the time to put ourselves down and put ourselves last because, I don't want to upset, Lisa, or I don't want to hurt Karen's feelings. It's because we assume that the truth is always bad, because that's kind of how we were taught to sort of don't be too honest in life because people won't like it.
And that's still needing somebody else to give me the love, right? So if I can come back and give myself that love first, if I can love myself enough first, then I'm not going to take feeling responsibility for someone else. I'm less likely to do that. I'm less likely to be rejected by the way they are because I've already met that need myself. Because nobody can meet my feeling need because it's inside me, even though we're taught that that's what it. So for me, it's all about this culture that we have to keep going outside. We don't want to be rejected. Once again, we're looking for it outside. We don't want to be left behind. We're looking for it outside. If we just get rid of that whole outside bit and meet the things that we need inside, the emotional needs ourselves, then all of that would just dissolve. Like, we won't even need to do that shit. We can be honest and have really real, authentic, loving, connected relationships.
Absolutely.
It's so simple. Let's do it now. Come on, let's do it.
I totally agree, but it is getting past our basic survival needs, and community is one of our basic survival needs. But it is understanding that the more that we can develop who we are and these understandings and this knowledge and spread it more, that's what I think it is. And that's why I love these sort of conversations, because it is, the awareness is coming more and more and more. Like, even if I go back 5-10 years ago, there wasn't the awareness of these sort of conversations then. And sure, we didn't have Zoom like we have it now, but that's beside the point. Even in, your own little huddles, there weren't those amazing conversations. I call them delicious conversations that you can now have about how to get back to you, so that we can then come together as a community more and more, knowing that we are higher beings here.
So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to grab that right now, because we've just opened up fear in a conversation about love. We've really gone into fear, and we've talked about addressing the fears. That is self-love.
Yeah.
Being honest with where you're at.
Yeah.
Once you get to the point where you're honest to where you're at, then get curious about that and address those pain points in your life. It frees you up to have more to love. This space between your ears is the most valuable real estate you own. You either own it or it owns you. You can't get past here into the heart when that's at capacity. You need to create the space and the awareness of what's going on around you, so that you can have time to choose your response, because you're worth it.
Yeah.
Love is a phenomenal thing.
I think
But it
one of
takes
the...
work. No. So it takes work. With
Yeah.
love's not free, and it's not easy.
No.
Sometimes
Sorry, Scott. No, you go. I'll wait for you.
Sometimes it's about saying no. And I'm not accepting that today. I don't have to give you a valid reason. I'm not sure about it. I'm listening to the inner voice. I can hear it, and something doesn't feel right. Honor it. Trust that you know. Trust that it's in your heart for a reason. I'm so grateful that I've been through everything I've been in life. It's given me the opportunity to sit here and talk about love. It was only 6 years ago that I was in France when a mate turned around to me and goes, "I love you." And I was angry. 3 months, I was filthy. Who the hell are you to tell me that you love me? Who are you, another man, to tell me that you love me? And it was my wife who turned around to me and said, "You idiot. He's just telling you how much he cares. The first time I'd ever been told by another man that he loved me. What did that mean for me?" The anger and everything. And love's scary. It can be, because you've got to be vulnerable. You've got to be open to your feelings. But my God, it fills you up when you're there. You can go into an authentic life that gives you the opportunity to have conversations and grow with people. And right now, in a time that I feel for people, but I actually don't too, because I know the gift that they've been giving. They've been given a gift of big spotlight. Oh, that hurts. Let's have a good look at it. And that's self-love is about coming to people and saying, "I'm not okay right now. I don't exactly know what it is. Can you help me?" How vulnerable, but how much self-love. Then you feel that. Then that energy's not there anymore. Then we've got love to give. Where focus goes, energy follows. You know, we feel what goes in comes out. Nutritionally, physically, emotionally. And I'm so grateful for the era that we're in right now and in challenging our emotions. We go back one generation, our fathers weren't sitting here, our mothers weren't sitting here with our fathers talking about our emotions and love and how do we get through this. It's a fantastic opportunity right now. Fantastic. But would you not agree that to love, it's an internal job and you're worth it?
I would ask, sorry, can I just ask a quick question? I mean, but what else is there though? What else, what other work is there to do? Of course it's worth it. I don't know anything else to do. Like, what else in this world is worth the effort than just achieving that love for yourself and to give to others? Because everything else, I think, is pretty much got us to where we are. And, you know, and I think that, yeah, to me, just to respond to that, it's just like there is no other work. This is it. This is it, the work that we should be doing. And it will just ripple out.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just felt like, yeah,
that's true.
It's brilliant. I'm just going to throw up a comment now. John, you've been amazing tonight, and I really appreciate you opening up into this. It's been brilliant. My thought is that purpose is the way we decide to take action despite the fear. Courage is the engine room we use to move forward, and love is the way we make all of this relevant to the rest of the world. Connecting with love is needed to be authentic, and without love and vulnerability will result in fear-driven connection, which is actually a form of manipulation. Wow, that is beautiful, John. And like, we're going to open that up. How do you feel about that? How did you feel about hearing that, Lisa?
Well, actually, I was interested in hearing what Karen was going to say before. Karen, did you want to?
They can answer that. I'll come back to it because
Okay.
it was
All
I'll
right.
remember it.
I like that. I personally think that purpose is an interesting concept. I think we talk a lot about purpose, and I think a lot of people are running around trying to find their external purpose. But I actually feel that I am my purpose. When I find myself and I'm in love, that is my purpose. And everything else sort of comes from that place. The courage being the engine room is definitely, like when you're in your heart, that's where your courage comes from. And you have to have courage to live a life of love, because otherwise you're in fear and you don't say what you need to say, and you do things that you don't want to do. And without the courage of your heart, you just cannot be true to yourself. It's very, very difficult to honor yourself if you don't have that courage activated. Yeah, I definitely think love is this incredible power that does, like you said, John, you know, helps us do all those things, and we're not in the manipulative state of the mind where fear dwells.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, thank you. So, Karen, I'm actually going to come over to you, and I apologise for cutting you off before.
No. I was interrupting you, so all cool. So what I was going to lead on from what you said about the mind being an engine room and stuff like that, and also leading on from a question that Lisa asked earlier about how do you what's the steps that you took? And one of the steps that I took was to deep dive into my language, the way that I spoke, and also the way that I thought. And most of us are of a generation where we were taught necessity language, whereas we weren't taught possibilities language. So I've converted most of the way that I speak into a possibilities type language, which obviously we live in a world of endless possibilities. So I find that when I do, especially in my mind or even mid-sentence, if I start to say something that goes against that, I will correct myself, you know, mid-sentence, and I do it. I don't care who I'm speaking to, and I will do that. But I also do it inside my mind. And I feel that that is one of the first places for us to start to find love is to deep dive into the way that we're speaking to ourselves and to deep dive into the way that we speak to other people and to have clarity in the way that we speak with other people. I'll tell you a quick story. Oh, we're nearly out of time. So most of you don't know that when I was 16, I had a daughter and I adopted her out. And she has, she'll be 48 in December. So that goes to show you, yeah, I'm 64. But she's been in my life for the past 20 years, and it's been a very up and down relationship, as you may imagine. But what we found is we've now come together a lot closer, and we did that through starting to really listen to each other and to starting to really hear each other and to be vulnerable and say, I've just heard this. Is this what you said? Right? And more often than not, we'd go, no, that's not what I said. This is what I said. So our 20-year up and down relationship was mainly caused through us misinterpreting and misunderstanding what we said to each other, because we've obviously come from, different backgrounds, different so many things. But if we spread that out to the whole world, we'll find that that's probably what's happening more often than not. It's a little misunderstanding, a miscommunication, because we're saying one thing and someone's hearing something completely different. That's a way that I feel like for my daughter and I, we've really brought our love together a lot closer. Sure, we still have our little hiccups, but that's in any relationship. But that's what we found to bring us back to love.
I see that all the time. It's amazing how different people can perceive, because our own emotional experiences are like a filter over our eyes. But what you said then about words, I would agree with that too, because that was one of the first things that I started to do. And I started to use words that carried a higher frequency of love. Yeah. So rather than words like worry, which is like just an ongoing cycle that you can't fix, I would use words like concern. I would use activated instead of triggered. When I spoke, I would affirm loving results. I wouldn't just go over the old things. So I was really conscious of how I was telling myself I was in this life. Like I would look for the progress rather than talk about the problem. Those sorts of things. I agree. All those things really help to move you more into your heart and be in that loving space. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. And because my version of love is appreciation.
Yeah.
And I adore walking around my estate. That's why people must think I'm nuts. I talk to the trees, I talk to the birds, I talk to the flowers,
but they're all energy, and they all have a message for us.
Yeah, I agree. And it's the beauty inside, the appreciation. That just we're all in existence together at one time. Like what an amazing feat that is, let alone anything else. But we're all a part of one organism. We're all a part of one community. And the expansion for me was started out with words also, like I don't have problems. I have opportunities.
Yeah.
And I say it all the time. What's my opportunity here? How's this opportunity going to play out? Let's get curious about this. Where are we at? And I love the triggers activated. Steve, is there anything you'd like to say about this?
I think that feelings. Like, that was a message given to me when I am still learning all about this myself. And there's always so much to learn, but it's feelings, going back to feelings, and being a guy as well. It's just one of those things that, it's not innate. I've got to work at it, and learning what my feelings are. It's like what Lisa was saying before. They're like, to me, they're like decoded messages. And if you can use the feeling and what it means and what it's bringing up for you and what it's trying to tell you about how you're feeling about something in your life, it's like that North Star you're looking for. Follow the feelings, and I really do believe that it is a bit of a change from the belief, especially there is like cognitive behavior therapy, and a lot of psychology wants you to go from your thoughts to your feelings and then actions. But I truly believe that it really lies in the other way, that it's your
Yes,
feelings,
yes,
your
Yeah.
thoughts, and then your
yes,
actions.
Well, what comes
yes,
first, the
yes.
feeling or the
Sorry, I'm
thought?
excited. That
I
is so
agree.
true.
It
It's
is.
so-
I agree.
It is. And
We're
that, I
being
think,
misled.
Yeah.
it's the biggest game changer we're going to have, because
Yeah.
we have been ignoring them for so long,
Yes.
justifying our thoughts, and making them way too important than they are.
Oh God, yes.
Look at the mess that we're all in. Like, really,
Yeah.
it has to be something else, and I think it starts there. So that, if I want to add anything, I want to make sure that everyone who's listening can really understand. So try this. Just try. Make your feelings more important.
Yes. That's
So
such a great place to end, Steve. Yes, that's beautiful.
I love that. I love.
What more can be said? Look, we're all just going.
No, I love the feeling. I love the feeling that I get when I love somebody, when I appreciate somebody.
Yeah.
I love the feeling when someone loves me. I'm going to leave it on that. We're going to leave it on that tonight.
That was a great conversation, everybody.
Yeah, exciting.
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you.
I'm just going to throw it out to anybody watching. If you see something you like tonight, if you see somebody that resonates with you, reach out to them. Love yourself enough to reach out to one of us. That's why we do this. Thank you. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, Lisa. And thank you, Steve, for a beautiful conversation that we talked about love, and we all conclude it's the feeling that we need to listen to.
Yeah.
How do you feel right now? How do you feel right now, Karen?
Yeah, I feel amazing. I feel in my heart. And that really, I always remember hearing there's three brains, your thinking brain, your feeling brain, and your intuitive brain. So yeah, it's beautiful. Tap more into those two.
Yeah. Thank you. How are you feeling, Lisa?
I feel sensational. Very connected.
Yeah.
Steve? Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, mate. Uplifted. I love talking about this stuff. I really do. I just find these conversations just really joyful to have, because we're all gonna feel good leaving this, and that's because we've all connected with one another. We've all shared energy right now. We've all tried to stay positive, and the energy has been good, and we're willing to learn from one another and hear one another. I mean, this is beautiful, So yeah, I love it, and I'm really grateful to be on this as well. So thank you for asking it, and it's so lovely to be with Karen and Lisa doing this as well. So thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I agree. You did well, Scott, bringing us all together.
Well, I'm gonna ask people, as we're still live,
Yep.
to ask themselves, how are you feeling seeing love on the screen? How are you feeling? Have a fantastic night. Thank you guys for a beautiful panel, and thank you, campers, for working hard to love yourself.
Yeah.
Have a good night, people.
Bye, everyone.